Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. Today, we're recapping our recent adventure to the most magical place on Earth, Disney World. All the new experiences, our final rides on some other attractions, and how we ate around the world. All that and everything else that happened this week in Geek. We are Geekcentric, and you can be too. Love ya. Laters. Bye. Get home safe, guys. Peace. Hot dog, and welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. My name is Nate, and this is our recap for our recent trip to Walt Disney World. If you're joining us for the first time, we are Geekcentric, a podcast celebrating the world of movies, TV shows, video games, and all things geek-centric. Now, of course, there's no way I alone can carry enough of that Disney magic back to the cold north for all of you. No, I need my fellow Musketeers and fellow geeks to lend a helping hand. First up, he's the dapper dude who's always down for some delightful food that's delicious. Don't believe me? Ask the dishes. He's Darcy, the Donald-loving, dinosaur-riding, Disney diehard Hudson.
Like you say, you wouldn't be able to get all the stuff back with us. You wouldn't be able to find your way around the parks without us, man. You go in your own little world sometimes when you're down there. Just one thing on your mind and then everything else. I'll follow Darcy. I'll get there somehow.
It's just there's too much magic. There's too much excitement in the air. I'm so blessed and happy to have my lovely Disney guides, my Disney diehards. But Darcy, you're not the only one that joined us on this trip. Joining alongside him, still riding in his doom buggy. He's cooler than a casket, but he also enjoys a good Mickey shopping basket. He's the grim-grinning Kevin, the 1000th Happy Haunt Hudson.
Welcome, foolish mortals. I got to say, though, I thought you were going to hit me with some K-letter Disney characters, and I had my Cusco quote ready, so I'm just going to say it anyways. Boom, baby. I am so excited to talk about Disney.
I considered the Cusco. I definitely did, wrong lever, Kevin, or Kevin's a girl. I was going to come up with something there, but I thought I'd keep it to the Haunted Mansion, which we just learned, by the way, that you can get married in the Haunted Mansion.
To which I replied, I'm going to have to get divorced so I can get married again. And you suggested very wisely that perhaps in a few years down the road, we could do a vow renewal, which is probably a lot more practical.
A vow renewal.
Oh,
come
man.
on.
How are they? If they're not selling those packages yet, they're missing out, man.
So good. I wanted to kind of kick things off. We've talked about Disney and Disney parks, a ton. And before we kind of dive into things, I wanted to just kind of have the all three of us sort of just share really quickly our relationship with Disney, and specifically with the Disney parks, and kind of maybe the last time we went prior to this trip. Darcy, why don't you kick us off?
I feel like me and Kevin's story or history with the parks is going to be very similar, given that our history comes directly from our parents. They're huge park fans themselves, and we've been taking pretty much every family vacation we took when we were growing up was always to Orlando. That was our happy place. We loved going to all the four parks there, and going again is always fun for me. Before this trip, I went last year, the most recent out of the three of us, and we took Kevin's daughter Robbie. So a little getaway while her parents were doing their own thing. So it was a fun time then, and it's a fun time now. Getting to experience Disney through a kid's eyes it's taking me back to when I experienced it for the first time. So a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and we traveled with not just little Robbie, but also, Caitlin as well joined us on this adventure, and she's new to travel in general, but to the Disney park. So it was great getting to share those experiences and see it through new eyes and fresh eyes. And of course, it's always great to get to ride with Robbie as Uncle Nate, and oh, Robbie's got to sit in the front seat with Uncle Nate. I guess Uncle Nate has to sit in the front seat too. Okay, no big deal, I guess. Kevin, how about yourself?
Like Darcy said, that's pretty much been the family go-to for vacations for as long as I can remember. My first vacation was when I was 4 or 5, and it was just my mom and I at the time. before the three brothers came along and sort of took some of the nice things that I could have as an only child. But I know my mom worked really hard to save up as a single mother to take me to a place she had gone with her parents and grandparents when she was a kid. So it's just kind of been this family tradition since Disney World started. And then, that carried on through my life up to the point where 6 years ago, my wife and I, as it's been mentioned a couple times on the podcast, got married in a Disney park itself. And so, hence Nate bringing up the fact that, we should do a vow regule at, the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, which would be awesome. But yeah, the Disney parks are just so intrinsically woven into so much of our lives. And like you guys said, going, because we've all been, quite a few times, not that it ever loses its magic, but to go with a first timer anytime you could do that is like my favorite thing to do now. Because it's going on rides with them for the first time, seeing their reactions to that. It's even being a bit of a nerdy tour guide and everyone has little things that they loved learning about themselves. And so you're pointing out how the sound works here or why they built the castle this height or all those little things. It's so much fun to share those things. And I love doing it every single time. And you get a different audience every time, right? It's like, oh, they're interested in the rides. Oh, they're interested in the architecture, whatever it is. We could talk about cool little things from around those parks all day long for an entire vacation. So yeah, anytime going with the first timer is amazing. And then, as Darcy said, getting to share it with my daughter, and I think this was the third time I've been there with her. As fortunate as we are, and each of the 3 trips already has been so different as she grasps more and becomes more alive to doing everything and taking new chances and riding Slinky Dog 4 times in a row because that's her new favorite ride and she hasn't stopped talking about it in 6 days since. That's the magic. That's where it's awesome. And that's when people ask, how can you keep going? I could give you 1,000 reasons why I love to keep going and will keep going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think it's also great too, because getting to I was so blessed to be able to be a part of that special day for you, and you asked me to MC the reception for your wedding, which, getting to make the joke of only Kevin and Sarah would have a bunch of Canadians fly all the way to Orlando to get married in Canada at the Canada Pavilion in EPCOT was great. And I think even with that trip, there were so many of your friends and family members who had never experienced the parks before and were constantly it was amazing to sort of see people change from why would anyone ever want to spend so much time here as an adult to, oh my gosh, this is amazing as an adult. And again, to get it to see through their kids and just to have those experiences. You're right. It is different every time. Even if the majority of it is the same, there's always something new to uncover. There's always something new to learn. Even this trip, one thing Darcy pointed out to me, I had no idea. We've ridden Star Tours so many times, and to learn that the back of the AT-AT is not fully constructed was just one of those little things that I was just like, thanks, Darcy. That's so cool. And then I didn't tell you this, Darcy, but we had an after hours event in Hollywood Studios, and I got there a little bit early, and I might have jumped on Star Tours a little bit early just as a quick little run through.
It's always a short wait. It's always great.
Right? But there was a solo traveler there, and I pointed it out to him before, and he's like, I never knew that. Thanks so much. And I was like, I got to feel how Darcy felt in that. So it's always so much fun getting to share our love for these experiences, these Disney parks, and the magic that they bring to our families. And so I'm happy that we get to talk about it on this recap. Huge thanks, as always, to our incredible friends over at Disney Parks, for inviting us and making this trip just a little bit more magical. We are so appreciative of it, and we had such a wonderful time. So let's dive into this here. I think what we might want to start with, we talked about how things, even when they don't change, we still learn something new, but there have been some changes since the last time we went, and I want to kind of kick things off with what was new and some new experiences that we had. And so before I throw it to you two, I want to just shout out one that, or a couple that I'd never experienced, but both of you have, and you can feel free to dive in on this. But I'd never ridden, and this is an exciting place to start for the podcast, I never rode Living with the Land at EPCOT. Epcot, which, I think I saw Living with the Land and I saw videos from Living with the Land, and I was like, I don't know if that's something I want to do, but, kind of going there and we were going there as part of Eatcentric, which is our food sort of sub-channel that we've started. And so getting to sort of see where food starts and to see, how the different horticulturalists at Disney are using real-world science to grow food was really, really cool. It just felt like it was like, you know what? Out of all the times that I would go, we're there on assignment for Eatcentric. This makes sense. But for you two, what was your experience with living with the land at Epcot?
I mean, that one I remember growing up because we went in the summer a lot, some of our earlier trips. That was always the one, oh, you've been out in the sun for too long. Let's go hop on this boat ride for 20 minutes and cool down type thing. So it's always been that one that was, oh, I guess we'll ride it if we have time or if someone wants to check it out, but it's never on the top of my list. So it was fun to go back this time. I want to go at Christmas because apparently they light the whole place up with Christmas lights and stuff. So That's something that I wish I knew about earlier. And now I got to go back on it at Christmas now.
I'll be there.
I think my relationship with Living with the Land is, going with my grandparents, and they were getting older, and the bigger, faster moving rides just weren't their cup of tea. So, I always had to go on it to Small World. I mean, I still do. Everybody does, right? You go on it. But that was one at Epcot where it was like, okay, if you want to go see that silly Honey, I Shrunk the Kids show, you're coming on Living with the Land with me. Okay, Grandpa, we'll do it, And I don't know. I hadn't done it in probably 20 years. It was a fascinating 14 and a half minute boat ride through. Well, I looked it up. Yeah. It wasn't like I was watching my watch. Oh my God, it's already been 13
How many heads of lettuce can we look at?
I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah.
But it's also one that I don't think I'd have to do again for many, many years, right? Unless, like Darcy said, you're there at the holidays and you check out the overlay. But it's just one of those ones that, if you got to do all the rides at some point. So it was cool. We got to first time with you and Robbie. That was awesome,
Yeah.
And Caitlin. We had 3 first timers on the Living with the Land boat. I'm sure that's the case on every single one of those boats.
Sure.
It's only like, oh God, okay, check it off the bucket list. Let's go,
And another one that I shocked all of you to say that I had never seen was Country Bear Jamboree in Frontierland in Magic Kingdom. And this was great. I will say I did look it up on YouTube, Blood on the Saddle. I wish I had experienced that in person, but getting to hear all the recent Disney songs done in an old country genre, and the animatronics looked like they were running phenomenally for the ages of some of these animatronics. What did you guys think of Country Bear Jamboree this time around?
They have definitely updated those animatronics is the first thing I'm going to say. But yeah, it's always been my favorite. I think Kevin is the one who had a huge connection to it growing up because he was always the one being like, guys, it's time. We got to go. Let's go hop in for the next show.
I love the Country Bear Jamboree. I love it. And I'm not a purist to the point that you can't fix what's old and make it new again.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll get to talk about an overlay at the very same park maybe next that I know is very controversial. But this one, I don't understand how anybody could have a problem with it. It's got the exact same spirit, the exact same energy of the original show. It has all the same characters, just the same vibes, but it's made it so much more approachable for young, new families experiencing Disney. And that's the way you're going to get a 6-year-old kid to go and check out a historic attraction at Magic Kingdom, is by making it relevant for them, while still, I still got the nostalgia from seeing it when I was 6 with my grandfather or whoever, that's maybe the best blend of old and new I've seen them do in a ride. They didn't renovate it entirely. They just enhanced it enough to keep that traditional vibe going, but making it fresh and relevant. I thought it was brilliant. And the show's even a little quicker, which is smart for the kiddos too. I think they shaved about 6 minutes off. Now, I was never complaining about the runtime, but no, I thought it was awesome. I was so excited to finally get to see it because I think I just missed it by a couple months the last time I was there. So no, that was one of the highlights in terms of new attractions that I got to experience this trip.
Yeah, what a wonderful show and experience, and getting to see it. And again, the music is fantastic, the way that they cover all of these different songs. But like you said, and I remember specifically, cover all of these songs. And I have to say, I remember distinctly in that area, one of the trips of the past few years we went, it was like the Hall of Presidents, and we were in there, and I remember coming out of it and some kid just going, "Oh, can we finally go to Tomorrowland?" And I was just like, you know what? I am right there with you after experiencing what we just experienced, ready to go into the future. But you brought up the fact, Kevin, that this was a fantastic re-theme and refresh of the Country Bear Jamboree. Another one that I know is near and dear to our hearts and to your heart is Splash Mountain. And so we've got to experience something new with Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Why don't you kick us off with that one?
Yeah, see, this one's really, really tough. Not so much for me, but I totally get where people are coming from. But, I mean, growing up, I was there the first year or so that Splash Mountain would have opened. Mm-hmm. And it instantly became probably my favorite ride.
Yeah.
In all of Disney World. It was just thrilling enough for, an 8-year-old who hadn't done many really thrilling rides. I'm used to Peter Pan's Flight and stuff, and wasn't a big, amusement park guy, right? Big coasters and everything. So this, that drop on Splash Mountain was everything. And honestly, if I could transport back to 1994 and see that ride when it was fresh and everything was working well and all the animatronics were there and the sound was crisper and everything, I get it. It was a perfect, amazing ride. But 30 plus years later, it had let itself go a little. It needed to do a little bit of a retool. It needed to get a personal trainer and get a personal chef and take care of itself. And I'm biased because I love Princess and the Frog so much, and doesn't hurt that it's also one of my daughter's favorites. She loves Tiana. So, and I just think, I don't know how you could walk up to Splash Mountain and see what they did just to the outside and not go, wow.
Yeah.
It's stunning. It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful. And then I wasn't let down, certainly through the line. I was like, how are they going to turn this cave and stuff into something like from, the Bayou and Louisiana and everything. And it's amazing from start to finish. You're like, wow, all these little details that these brilliant engineers put over stuff that used to be something else. It was just really, really creative. Now, are there as many animatronics as there could be? Are there a few dead spots in the ride? Sure. But I think the energy and vibe is still there. The story might not be as coherent, but you still get it's not like they took the drop away. The ride itself is the same. The true reason you're there is still there. So I give that one like an 8 out of 10 for working, and it worked for me at least.
No, for sure. And I think you mentioned that queue area, and I think that was so impressive to see and to hear the wonderful music. And Disney's always so good with their queue areas, and so getting to kind of, I love how you're sort of learning about Tiana's story of her and her family and her father, and you walk past the newspaper and it's got, information on it, or the full table of beignets that I couldn't stop looking at, that I was just drooling over. Darcy, what did you think of our experience on Tiana's Bayou Adventure?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough to get on it last year with when I was down there with the folks, but it has always, again, it's one of those overlays that need to happen, I think, and it's really good in terms of how they pull it off. Now, my one big issue with it is the direction with these animatronics, because they are so much more complicated than they were before. They're not always working on the ride, so it's a hit or miss when you can sometimes get a fully working animatronic. I mean, we had a pretty good ride, but our Mama Odie at the end had a head cock that she could not fix for the life
She needed
of
a
her.
chiropractor for sure.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, because it was really cold while you were there, I just realized, does that impact these animatronics? Because they are usually like a fluid-based hydraulic system that makes them move around. I'm wondering if temperature really affects that. And it was some of the coldest time. I think it was the coldest it's ever been in Disney when we were there, and it was multiple days of that. So I'm just wondering if that impacts the thing. But again, the ride itself is fantastic. And like you said, it's still the same ride at its heart. It just has a new story to tell on the ride. So really cool overlay. I love it.
Absolutely. And from a temperature standpoint, you have to imagine even more so with water and
exactly,
there's air flowing through there. But no, I fully agree with everything both of you had said there. And I think for me, it was just the idea of like, like, don't get me wrong, I appreciated Splash Mountain. I never fully connected totally to the story of Splash Mountain. I liked the characters. I thought they were cute and lovely. I just love how this tells the story of how Tiana and Louis are searching for various band members to play at this Mardi Gras celebration, and the way that it sort of works you through. You're getting to experience music from Louisiana, Haiti, Latin jazz, like Afro-Cuban bands, and I also love the way they play with scale. Like Kevin, you mentioned the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids experiences. I was around when that was a thing in Hollywood studios as well. You could go around and go on the Big Ant and stuff like that. And so the way that they play with scale, and you're getting shrunk down, and you see you start off by seeing that little baby bear shaking his little tush, and then you get shrunk down, you see the frog, but then that big bullfrog playing the drums. I couldn't get enough of that guy. And then you get shrunk, or you get brought back up to full size, and then as you're going through that final celebration, you see the smaller versions of all of those band members. I just think the attention to detail that they have is so good, and these Imagineers, they pay so much attention to those little things that can make you smile. It's not just, yes, of course we have to keep the drop and we have to make sure this is a thrilling experience. The way they're able to sort of give you those little things that, like you said earlier, Kevin, we get to point out to first timers the next time they join us on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Oh, make sure you pay attention to this, or look at the grandma, the grandma with the what is she? A grandma firefly with the little walker,
Yes.
And she looks through that big screen, and then she continues to walk through, and it's so fantastic. Mama Odie laughing as you pass by her for that final drop. There's a video of us experiencing that drop in our highlights on our socials for Eatcentric, so make sure you check that out. I have to say, out of all the delicious things we got to talk about and review on this trip, I did not think Bayou water would be some of the things that I would be tasting.
So it's all in our face. It sucks.
Yes. Do you have, Darcy, now that we've ridden the ride a few times in different variations, we got to ride it in, Splash Mountain in Tokyo and in all sorts of, in California. Is there a strategy? If you sit in the front, I think you get the wettest. Is that
yes?
What
That's
we're saying?
across the board. It's the wettest. If you want to have dry shoes, though, avoid the Disneyland Tiana's Adventure, because that one, the single file thing, I don't know what it is about those logs, but they go into the water at the end, and you get water
submerged.
on your lap pouring into your shoes. So avoid that one. The other two, just sit in the back. You'll get a light spray that you'll be
good.
dry in, again, half an hour. So.
But huge kudos to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. That was such a highlight for this trip and getting to experience it. I want to jump over back to EPCOT now for Test Track version 3. I have in my notes, I have Test Track version 3 /fireworks /steak smell because this was phenomenal timing. I think it was such great timing of Darcy. Huge shout out to you, buddy, for getting me on that ride when we did. We're getting there. The smell of steak is coming from Space 220, and the fireworks are going off over Epcot as we hit the apex, the fastest part of Test Track V3. I thought they did such a good job, and I think this version of Test Track, they nailed it. I think this, more than any other, showcases what they're trying to get across about the future of vehicles and cars and what have you.
Yeah, 100%. This is the best version of Test Track. This one that doesn't need to be changed for a while. Just the fact that, again, it's the same layout as previous Test Tracks. They just change the story that they're telling as you're going through it, testing these cars. And the fact that they are focusing on EV and like self-driving cars and all the technology built around cars and how that's shaping the future of driving. It's just combined with the screens and the way that they managed to use the glasses of 3D multiple times throughout the ride, where you're in another world that feels so much bigger than the little tunnel that we're used to from the other Test Track. Yeah, this is one of the best updates they've done so far. So gotta ride it. If you always pass it up just because it was just a car ride, try again, because it is so cool now.
It's really cool. And I gotta say, if you're a fan of the Matrix, there's a moment where it feels like you're going into the Matrix. It's really, really cool. And Kevin, I can't wait for you to get to check it out at some point.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? I will just say I was a huge fan of version 1 as a kid and never really liked version 2. They took away some fun elements from the first one, I thought. And I mean, obviously, once you hit the track, it's just balls to the wall, and it's the fastest ride in Disney, and it's awesome. But that the getting to their part. I never liked version 2, so I'm glad to hear that they've made appropriate and significant changes to the ride. And it's kind of amazing, I guess, when you do really stick to the same mechanics and just do a cosmetic overlay, how quickly they can do it, because that one was not down for very long. So that was a pretty impressive turnaround on their part, because I do know that a lot of people have been raving about it. So kudos once again to the engineers for that.
And that's huge encouragement, too, for something like Smuggler's Run, where hopefully when that does go down for the updates that are coming to it, that it does kind of, get there a little bit faster, maybe a few less parsecs. Kevin,
distance. That's distance.
Distance. I always get it mixed up. Now, another one that was new, I think, for all of us, I want to kind of have Kevin kick us off, because I think he's a big fan of these. Well, actually, both of you are pretty big fans of all these characters. But I want you to talk about the Villain Show. We got to experience the replacement for Lightning McQueen in Hollywood Studios. What did you think of is it just called the Villain Show, or is it, I'm sure it's got an official name, but
Villains Unfairly Ever After.
Villains Unfairly Ever After. Kevin, what do you think?
Well, they could have put some mannequins wearing villains' clothing in the big open building, and it would have probably been a bit better than that Lightning McQueen show, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Shots fired at Lightning.
Now, and that's especially after you go to California studios and see the Cars Land.
Yes, true.
You're like, okay, there's some love to that franchise.
And they're actually rolling around, like they're driving around the park.
and their eyes do the same thing as the little animatronic in the show. It was just that was for like 5 and under, that show,
For sure.
But so again, they didn't have to do much, but they did so much. Everything in that theater was amazing.
Wow.
From the new seating, it just felt like, just sitting down, you're like, wow, a whole new set of seats and everything, and it feels like you're in a theater. And then you look up at the stage, and it's just all these smoking empty frames and mirrors and everything, and it's like, oh man, what are they going to do here? This looks really, really cool. And then the show did not disappoint. Disney has upped their game when it comes to their shows. I'm wondering if a little neighbor down the highway sort of said, hey, you want to see how we do theme park shows? We'll show you. And Disney went, oh shit, okay, we gotta pick this up a little, don't we? And I'm not sure if the timing is even relevant there or not, but what this did, and I was talking with my photographer when I did a really cool anniversary photo shoot. But the photographer, who's obviously really inclined to know some stuff about behind the scenes, said he feels like this show is almost a trial run for kind of the vibe that we might get with the Villains Land. And it's like, oh, if that's the case, man, where it's like just spooky enough that like it's fun, but not too spooky for kids. But adults aren't like, okay, this is, but there's that humor that makes Disney villains what they are and why they stand out from maybe villains in other types of, family entertainment. I just think the vibe of that show in the whole land could be unbelievable. That show was spectacular. I was blown away in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah,
Darcy.
I loved it too. I think one of the coolest things about that show is the fact that it is a interactive show. You get to vote for the villain you want to see treated better, I guess, by the end of the song or whatever. And it's really cool how that works. With the 3 we got was Cruella, Maleficent, and Captain Hook singing their songs and trying to who was the most treated most unfairly over their course of their stories. They sing about it, and it's really cool and engaging when you have guest stars popping up on other mirrors, and the fact that that just opens itself for the changeability. Like down a year from now, they could just be like, okay, we've got 3 new villains coming in, like maybe an Yzma or like even like the hunter from Bambi. I don't know, like just random characters or random villains that don't get a lot of love could make an appearance here. It's so cool.
Imagine with what they do, because there were costume changes on stage and stuff. You could literally go from, the evil queen to the old woman giving Snow White her apple. Like she could transform from one to the other on stage. Like the possibilities there are so endless. And even just the fun they had with the crocodile chasing Hook across the stage on the screen.
Yes.
Like so fun and clever. Like I'm excited to see how that show can evolve and grow and change over the years. There's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, their live entertainment has definitely seen a market improvement, and not that it wasn't great before. I think it was fantastic before, but just the way that they are implementing both the screen and the music and some of the animatronic elements to the show in line with the performance. And I think one of my favorite things was the voting aspect. Getting to vote for which of the three villains was the most unfairly treated. I think one of my favorite experiences from an interactive standpoint, I love Crush. Turtle Talk with Crush is one of my favorites. I got a great clip on my social of him reacting to 6-7. I also love Monsters, the Monsters Inc. laugh floor, and I love getting to sort of have that experience with an audience that you run into throughout the day, and then they say, oh, you're that guy, or oh, you're buying me churros today, or what have you, because you were featured as part of the show. And even in this, we were at Animal Kingdom and on a completely different day, and they were talking about some family was talking about the villain show, and I was like, this was at EPCOT, and I was like, oh man, no, I voted for Cruella. They're like, Cruella, like, come on. And it's just such a great way for you to have that connectivity and that sort of shared experience for everyone at the park. So huge kudos. If that is the vibe for Villains Land, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Speaking of their live entertainment, I want to quickly touch upon, because Kevin, I know it's your favorite, Little Mermaid. We got to see the new iteration, the new version of the Little Mermaid show. This was my first time seeing it. Was it your first times as well?
I have not seen that show in a very, very long time. I saw it well before the mold set in. That's how long ago it was. But another advancement while staying true to the original, I think. Such a clever use of screens and technology and puppetry. It was really, really cool the way they blended so many different art forms and just sort of performance techniques on the stage. I think maybe, what they could have done was just gone in, gutted the roof, gotten rid of the issue that they were having with mold and everything like that, and then just gone right back to the status quo, what they'd been doing for 20, 30 years, whatever it is now. And they said, no, we're going to take this opportunity to revamp absolutely everything. And I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah, no, I fully agree, and I think you mentioned the elements of Ursula and the way that she would go from a puppet to an animatronic to a like they'd use smoke, and then she'd all of a sudden be the digital version, and the way that they were able to sort of align those and have that work so fluidly. There's a moment where Flounder is a digital element, and then swims over here and comes out as a puppet on the other side of the stage. I thought it was so well done. Darcy, what did you think?
Yeah, again, it's like me and my mom did it one time. We were there on our own. I don't know why. We were just like, oh, let's do this show. We haven't done it in a while. And you could tell it was still a fantastic show, just focusing on the puppetry and using like that whole black suit to disappear on a black stage effect. And then they would just crank in the mist and bubbles to make it feel like you're underwater. And you can understand why in the Florida heat that would lead to the mold issues they had. So this update is much needed, and again, the fact that the mold was recurring, they could have ripped down the ceiling and replaced it, but it would have just kept coming back if they didn't change what they were doing. And this change just took all the technology that they've perfected across their parks and like slammed it into one epic show. It's so cool. Again, like the combination between the two, and even just the way they portray the final scene, because a lot of Disney rides tends to avoid wherever the villains fall. For the most part, you always skip that part and go to the happy ending. Well, in this show, you get to see one of the coolest renditions of Prince Eric steering the ship through Ursula's heart on a stage with puppetry, screen, and physical stuff. It was cool. Again, definitely worth checking out this show. It's an incredible update.
And huge shout out to those actors, just phenomenal. The fact that they are able to do that many shows in a day at the level of what Disney requires is phenomenal. I understand they're shorter shows, but still, it's very impressive. And I'm sure by your ninth part of this world, of just that day, to keep going on. It's just it's amazing, and they did such a phenomenal job. The last kind of new thing, unless you guys have anything else that I kind of wanted to jump in and ask you about, was Better Zoothether. We had the opportunity to experience Better Zoothether at Animal Kingdom, and I will say I think they did a phenomenal job with the re-theme, but there was something missing for our experience, and I'll leave either of you to sort of kick us off.
Yeah, Disney has animatronic problems. We've seen it across all their new rides, unfortunately. They increase the text so much that they don't understand, going through the motions 20,000 times in a week, wear and tear will happen. And these, unfortunately, Clawhauser, who is supposed to be the MC for our show, was just absent and there on a floating screen. So kind of takes you out of it and makes it feel less like you're in the world and just watching a movie, unfortunately.
Kevin.
And I think even the effects during the show, there's like 1 or 2 3D effects. They involve water on the screen 2 or 3 times, and then you finally get sprayed with it once, and it just felt a little flat. Bugs Life there was so much going on, and while they kept, the one surprise that scurries about under you, you don't have things dropping down at you. There weren't any smells, and I think there, outside of just the one Clawhauser animatronic, I feel like there were a couple going on at least in Bugs Life. I know that there was a Hopper one, obviously. Like there were more than just the one. Yeah, like it felt flat to me. I was a little let down, especially because of how much I love Zootopia. So that was probably, of all the new things we got to experience this trip, that was the most disappointing by far, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there was that lamb. I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting her name. Merryweather was kind of like a half animatronic at one point. But to your points, like,
I think do that effect better in the Muppet Show.
For sure.
And the PhilharMagic show.
And PhilharMagic. I think the big thing with this one is, I think there were moments where I was laughing and I enjoyed what was on the screen. I think, a good Nick and Judy mystery adventure is always going to be fun in the way that they sort of incorporate the world of Zootopia. But, I think it's interesting because had we maybe not necessarily known about the Clawhauser, would it have hit any better? I guess not. But I think even just the way that was done in the sense of without the animatronic, because there's a moment where like Chief Bogo is like talking to Clawhauser, but Clawhauser on his little drone iPad is in the wrong spot on the screen, and obviously they can't change too much in terms of the animation in those instances.
Have to. That's the worst B mode I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was
That's the lamest B mode I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And people complain about Kylo all the time. I don't mind that one. It's, if you don't know what you're missing, you wouldn't know. Like, I don't think you would have to know that Clawhauser was not there and not working to know, like, what is happening here? This doesn't even line up.
There's literally a gaping void on the side of the screen without him there. Like, it's not like they just cover him up. They completely remove him. So it's just an empty desk, essentially. Yeah,
I would have loved to have him involved, but I will say, Darcy, you had mentioned Robbie going, hey bub, over and over again. That's worth it right there. And I think for kids, I think it's still a fantastic experience. But to your point as well, Kevin, coming off of the experiences from It's Tough to Be a Bug, I think it needed that a little bit more there to it. I will say, I just
think It's Tough to Be a Bug was still good.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's an unnecessary reskin, retheme, whatever you want to call it. And when you see what they did with Zootopia, a huge property for them, a $4 billion property for them just in ticket sales, they've built a whole beautiful, amazing land and ride in Shanghai. Mm-hmm. And here they took away the only Bugs Life representation in any of the parks. And that's what we're going to get for Zootopia? That's just lame.
Yeah.
It's just a little, like, there's going to be a Zootopia 3. They could have waited and built something better for that. I just think it deserves it at that point.
Yeah, it seems rushed and kind of lazy just to do this quick overskin of a 4D show that there was no issues to. Like, again, the Muppet Show is great too. I understand why they're getting rid of that. They have to take away the other great 4D show that was there and replace this subpar imitation almost. It's disappointing.
I do wonder though, as we get future stories in the Zootopia verse, if it's possible. Obviously, we have Hey Bub in this one, and that's a reference to number 2. Maybe for Zootopia 3 or future series, maybe they treat this almost like a Star Tours sort of vibe, where we get to go on, maybe different mysteries are being uncovered. And, oh, which one did you get? Oh, did you solve it? Oh, you didn't. I think there's this could cook a little bit longer. And so hopefully they kind of do that a little bit more. I will say the learning about the origin of Zootopia through the queue area and getting to sort of see how the animals all started and how when they gained like sentience or whatever it is, like
opposable thumbs. Really, it's when they all gained opposable thumbs.
They gained opposable thumbs.
That's what changed from our world, essentially.
Right. Was really interesting. So I think, and even that queue area, there was a lot of really cute nods of like, was it like Pandora or something like that? Or, there's some really fun stuff that you'd expect from the writers of Zootopia. So I think it's still it's a good time. I think it could be a bit better. But let's talk about maybe some things that we rode for the last time. I think a huge part of Hollywood Studios has to be Rockin' Roller Coaster. And while we didn't necessarily ride the ride for the last time, we did ride it with Aerosmith for the last time. I'm going to leave it up to whoever wants to jump in here. What did you think of our final experience on Rockin' Roller Coaster in its current form?
I think, as cool as the opening video was in the lineup there, as cool as that always was.
Grab my blue Les Paul. Is that what he said? Was it? Is it
grab my black Les Paul? Yeah, hey Joe or whatever it was. Like when I was a kid, man, a dude used to come out and grab a guitar. That guy would have had to do that like 200 times a day. You want to talk about repetitive? And that's always been missing for me. I've always been a little disappointed. But I mean, outside of that, you're not and the music, I guess, when you're on the ride itself, that's an easy one to change. And you do some cool Muppet Land stuff that you're driving through in the dark, and it'll be glow in the dark Muppet signs and maybe some characters here and there, whatever they're going to do. That one's easy enough. And Aerosmith had their time. And again, not that the Muppets are necessarily that much more relevant to kids these days than Aerosmith. I'll tell you, my daughter loves Muppet Babies. Yeah. She'll know Kermit and Fozzie and those characters more than like, who's that wrinkly old dude? Who wears a lot of scarves. Yeah. So I think this is an interesting way to, because it is a pretty approachable coaster. I think that's a 40-incher, maybe a 40. Is it a 44?
I think it's the second class. Yeah, 44.
So I mean, that's still 8 to 10. You're pretty much getting there. So this is like the kid's first coaster. Let's do it with the Muppets and have some fun with it. So much fun. It makes sense to me. I'm a big Aerosmith fan. I've seen them 3 times live, and I'll never hear them again in a Disney park. And it's a weird feeling, but I'm okay with it. I can accept it. So yeah, I think the ride's still gonna rock. That launch is always gonna be awesome into the loop. Like it's they're not changing that, and as long as they don't, I'm okay with this change. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, especially because I feel like with their recent roller coasters, or at least with Guardians, they have multiple tracks for each time you ride. So I can see them doing something similar with this, where maybe one of the medleys you get with the Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem as they're singing on you, because it's clearly going to be them, right? The Rock and Roller Coaster is still being the Rock and Roller Coaster, and the only band in the Muppets is the Electric Dr. Teeth. So it makes sense. And again, it'd be cool if we get like an Aerosmith cover on one of those medleys, just like a walk this way as you're going out through that loop for the first time. Like there's going to be some way to nod to Aerosmith for sure, because they loved the ride and they loved what they did for the ride. Now they're just, again, updating it to make more sense with everybody else. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, and I mean, I believe it's going to be called Rock and Roller Coaster featuring the Muppets, or featuring Dr. Teeth and featuring the Electric Mayhem. So I think that makes a ton of sense. I love the idea of what they can do with the Muppets, and of course, as you already mentioned, that we no longer have the Muppets in their dark ride or their show experience. So to get them here, I am so excited. But I love Rock and Roller Coaster. It is maybe the most intense, I think, of the coasters at Hollywood Studios. Slinky Dog has its moments with the up and the downs, but I think Rock and Roller Coaster takes the cake, especially like you mentioned, that blast off. And that queue area is fun, but I do like the idea of Statler and Waldorf. Is it Waldorf or Waldorf? as we've
I
been
think it's
saying, Waldorf. We've all been talking about like what would we do, and the idea of putting them in the queue area, making fun of everyone, and maybe that's where we get some of our Aerosmith references, is through some of their humor as we're getting on.
That's fun.
The
I like
ride.
that.
That could be really cool. We also said goodbye to a dear friend who is now extinct. That is Dinosaur. Kevin's like happy to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Dinosaur. We wrote our last Dinosaur and said goodbye to director Dr. Helen Marsh, Felicia Rashad, as well as Dr. Seeker, Wallace Langham, and of course, who could forget Aladar, the Iguanodon, and the entire team at the Dino Institute. I think I kind of want to jump in on this one. This was a ride that when I was a kid, this was a massive deal for me. This was one of those situations where I was like, there were two things I loved in this world. I loved horses and I loved dinosaurs. And so, no horses involved, but getting to go through this ride, I remember I carried around a giant red plush Carnotaurus coming off of this ride throughout the entire park. I would not let go of this thing. It was probably my first sort of big kid ride, if you will. And so for me, Dinosaur will always have a very special place in my heart. And getting to go through this and getting to see the replica fossils for the last time, or, getting to actually pay attention to those. And Darcy, you pointed this out to me, and I never noticed this before because I think when I was a kid, I was just so excited to get on the ride. But hearing the legendary Bill Nye, the science guy, narrate as you're going through that queue area for the last time.
The whole timeline of the Jurassic to Cretaceous periods and how the meter and all that stuff. It
was so good. I'll throw it over to you guys. What did you think of our last time riding Dinosaur?
I mean, I'm with Kevin. It needs to go. It's never been my favorite ride. It's the fact that it's so dark. Again, the story is cool. The pre-show is incredible, and the building itself is fantastic. I love Bill Nye. And that pre-show, you get stars. I'm going to watch the pre-show, and they're going to act and have fun with it. Like, it's a good pre-show. But the ride itself has never stood out to me as something that's great. It is such a dark ride where you spend, it feels like over half the ride, you're just riding around in the dark as you're saying left, right. Oh, we made it. Did we? I couldn't see anything we were avoiding. So did we make it? I can't tell. It's the most pointless junction of scenes just to be like, there's something of a story here with different dinosaurs. It needs to be updated. Whether it's going to be better than the one in California, I don't know, because I feel like it's going to be a lot of the same, but at least we're going to see more. That's all I'm looking for from a ride. I want to see what I'm doing on a ride.
For you're referring to the future change to Indiana Jones.
Indy.
Yes. Yeah. Kevin, you excited to see Indy instead?
Well, I just I keep aging myself and sounding like an old curmudgeon here, but I was on the ride when it wasn't even called Dinosaur. It was called Countdown to Extinction.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And it was jerkier and scarier, and the dinosaurs were a little bit more jumpy, and then they were oh, this is too scary for kids, so they toned it down. And one of the ways they did that was to just darken it a bit so you couldn't see as much. And then I think as an effect of not wanting to spend any money to improve things over the years, another ride that really just let itself go, beer belly, butt crack sticking out the back, just really let themselves go in middle age. They just started making it darker and darker. So you did, like Darcy said, you'd see less and less. You couldn't see anything.
Sure.
You can barely see the Carnotaurus when he's coming at you at some points. And that was the whole effect of the ride.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, I have never been blown away by the Indiana Jones rides in terms of the ride mechanic itself. I was really looking forward to going on it for the first time when we went to California a few years back, and was like, oh, okay. Then heard that the Japan one was an even better vehicle with better movement and everything. I was like, okay. And then kind of left going, oh, okay. But the one thing I will say about the ride that stands out, because it will be quite similar in terms of the track layout and what they're going to do with the Indy versus Dinosaur. One thing I am looking forward to is at least Indy is a stunning ride to look at. It's incredible to drive through those temples and to see all the details and everything and the effects. And I'm hoping, 5 years after the Tokyo one opened, and 15 or however many years it's been since LA, that at least there we get a real enhancement in terms of effects and what they can do with projection and everything like that. So I'll say at least it might not be any more thrilling of a ride. You are just driving around in a fake Jeep after all, but it will look a hell of a lot better than Dinosaur did and ever did. So again, it just never resonated with me, and I'm never one to be like, how could that be your favorite? Man, everything is somebody's favorite, and that's what makes those rides special.
Yeah.
But it was just never up there for me.
For sure. And I think you bring up a great point, is like, it's got its fans, but I think the majority of fans today would, like myself, admit that it's fans out of nostalgia more than actual current experience on the ride. But I will say our last experience was great. Darcy and I were on the ride for our final time, and we got stuck right as the Carnotaurus got there. And so Dr. Seeker's shouting, we're not going to make it, abort, abort. And then silence. And then everyone in our car just starts chanting, abort, abort, abort. It was fantastic. It was so good. I hope that the actual Dr. Seeker, Wallace Langham, who came to ride it on the last day, which was February 2nd, did not have, I hope he had a better experience than that. I'm sure they had it working.
That is pretty cool,
pristinely. Very
I hadn't
cool.
heard that.
Yeah,
That's
it's very cool.
Oh, yeah, especially after we heard that Aerosmith, or at least two members of Aerosmith, rode Rock and Roller Coaster like the day before we were at Hollywood
day
Studios.
before.
I know, we just missed them.
We might have sat in the same, we might have the same butt fabrics. I don't know what kind of butt fabrics they're rocking, but speaking of butt fabrics and things that maybe we bought, I want to quickly, before we talk about what we ate as part of Eatcentric, just a couple of things. Is there some cool things that you got to bring home with you this trip? I know we're always buying things, and Darcy and I are probably buying a lot more. But Kevin, I want to start with you. Do you want to shout out anything that you were able to grab?
I used to be a collector of all things, and slowly weaned my way from movies and sports and all things Disney to I'm kind of just focusing on the parks now. And so it's always very exciting for me to go to the parks themselves and take a look around and just get pieces of that. Now, I've almost completed my ride car collection. I was able to pick up a new Tiana's log. I have plenty of Splash Mountain logs, but it's now got Bayou creatures instead of Splash Mountain creatures, and there's no little carving on the front, so it's different. It counts as a new vehicle. But I think that is the only ride vehicle I was able to find this whole trip, which is kind of crazy. But I have kind of shifted now to statues. Specifically for the Haunted Mansion, even though I didn't buy any Haunted Mansion statues this year. So I got a beautiful Pirates piece. Oh, this thing is amazing. If you know the ride, it's the pirate during the fire scene where he's standing with his legs over two boats, and he's got just 15 hats stacked on his head, and he's trying to loot as much. It's such a beautiful piece, lights up from the bottom. So I love that one. And then I got a really cool piece for a ride I've never had memorabilia for. And then it's like this 3D version of a poster for Autopia, the ride where you drive around on the track.
I was hoping you got that one.
Yeah, that was the one I decided to get because I just don't have anything for it, and maybe I'll get the others in that series eventually. But I focused on I want something from every ride, so I've got about, I'd say, 4 or 5 rides left in all of Disney World between the 4 parks that I need some sort of memorabilia for. If you ever see anything for Soarin', anybody out there, let me know. Soarin', a ride vehicle for Soarin' would be really cool. Anyways, so I got a few little pieces for that. And then, now when you go with a kid, they get all the good stuff. So you kind of get to live vicariously through them.
There you go.
Yeah.
A few bubble wands here and there.
Are you sure you want that princess thing? How about this really cool Star Wars thing? It's not working yet, but I'll get there.
We'll get there. Darcy, how many cool Star Wars things did you bring home?
My lightsaber collection has grown by 2. I had to pick up, while I was there, the Master Soul from Acolyte. I got his saber. It's really cool. It goes from blue to red. It's because he did manage to bleed a crystal in an instant, which is... We'll not get into that right now. I also got the one I prefer to talk about is Balin Skulls. It's the first legacy saber that actually turns orange. So it has a special blade that I always didn't bring back and did not know that is the only one that would actually work with this lightsaber. So
wow,
it's a really beefy utilitarian. You can tell this is a guy who means business when he's fighting with it. And I always loved the lightsabers because they really reflect the wielders when you look at the details and stuff in them. So it's always cool to add to my collection. And the door I have them hanging on is probably groaning at the weight of 2 more added to it. it, but it looks great up there.
Fantastic.
The new ones fit?
Yep.
Wow.
I had space for 3 more.
Amazing.
I planned ahead.
Come on. Darcy, did you grab anything else that you wanted to shout out before we keep going here?
I'm a big pin guy, so Disney always has an awesome selection of pins. Luckily this year, it seemed like they focused on everything else in the store to replace but the pins, so I didn't have to pick up too many. But one of my favorite things about Disney, I've talked about wanting to do a photo album for it, but I love the garbage cans of Disney. It's, you're a true Disney fan when you talk about the garbage cans and how the different themes. And this year they had, me and Nate grabbed the blind pack of the trash can pins. So it's character-inspired trash cans, that the classic Disney push stop ones, and I thought that was really cool. And then just spinning off that, my mom actually got a tumbler that has just the trash cans of Disney around it, and it's like only a true fan would know that's a Disney cup, basically, looking at it. So yeah, I don't know, I love when trash cans get their love, I guess.
Absolutely.
I'm a canny.
Oh yeah.
So much so that we just moved like 4 months ago, and I got all new kitchen stuff for my counter. And it's all matching, my paper towel rod and my spoon holders and my compost bin. They're all the same color. They're all nice black. But they had a Disney garbage can compost bin this year at Style at Disney Springs. So I'm not passing that up. So I don't give a shit if it doesn't match my other stuff. I can't wait for that to arrive. That is going boom.
That is so cool.
And then we're cannies. Love me a good Disney garbage can.
You've encouraged me so much, and I was hoping that we did get to go to the is it called the drop shop or the Disney
drop shop? Yeah,
the drop shop in the what is that place called? The
Market Co-op.
The Market Co-op. Thank you, at Disney Springs. And see, this is why I got Darcy with me. And Darcy and I were talking about the fact that they had those trash cans. Unfortunately, they were sold out of the blind box trash cans. We'll have to find a way to find them. I think they'll probably do another run of them. They seemed pretty successful. But one thing that I did grab there and was really happy to grab with the support of Kelly, another Hudson brother who just has a horseshoe up his butt, and I said I had one in my hand, and I was holding the box for the Mickey and Friends. Of course, you can get one of 8. I just want the Mickey. I just want the Mickey Mouse. I already bought 2, didn't get them, so I had another one in my hand, and I turned to Kelly, and I said, "Get me the Mickey Mouse." He took the one from my hand. He came back with another one. I opened it up, and it was the Mickey Mouse. And it was like such a magical moment, such a wonderful, Disney magic combined with the magic of Kelly. So huge shout out to Kelly. We also all picked up the first edition pirate mug from Beak and Barrel, which we will have some content coming up on Eatcentric in due time. We're working on those, where you should be able to get to see those mugs featured and showcased. But I thought it was so cool to get a first edition mug from this cantina, like we have a first edition Yub Nub mug from Oga's. I had to pick up some dinosaur merch, of course, so grab the ride vehicle from Dinosaur and the little Carnotaurus little action figures and a couple little dinosaurs that, again, me as a little kid I would have kicked my butt if I didn't pick those up. He would have been really upset with me. And then lastly, I want to shout out, yes, I grabbed a lightsaber. I grabbed Kanan Jarrus' lightsaber, which is gorgeous, absolutely phenomenal. Might be my favorite of the ones I've grabbed so far. And then Darcy and I, anytime that they do the Toy Story toys in full scale, we just had to do it. And I think, Kevin, you picked one up as well. Lenny from Toy Story, Lenny, the little binoculars, the walking binoculars, had to get him to add to the collection. So all 3 of us, I think, grabbed that one as well.
The very meticulously planned Toy Story shelf in my house that belongs to Robbie, not me, my daughter.
In her playroom. It's for her.
But no, I want to fill it out. I know the big strong guy who closes the moving truck door or whatever, who gets it open. They had a toy of him like back in '98 or whatever, and those things are like $200 now or whatever. So it was awesome to see a new member outside of the core 10 or 12 that you always see, and it was like, yeah, man, Lenny's integral, especially in that first story. So that was a really cool pickup as well.
He's huge. I love the idea of the toys from the movie in our real world in full scale, and so he's perfect. He walks, he waddles. But I was also waddling a little bit at the end of our Eatcentric EPCOT International Festival of the Arts Eating Around the World Day. It was the Festival of the Arts. Some phenomenal food, some beautiful artwork. I want to kind of go around the three of us and just talk about what we ate. And this can be from EPCOT, from the Festival of the Arts, or even outside of EPCOT, maybe a new food item or an old classic favorite that we wanted to highlight. And of course, if you want to see more from our adventures, definitely, we are Eatcentric on Instagram. You can check out our Instagram and see all the different things that we got to eat. But I'll leave it up to either of you. Who wants to kick us off with something delicious that we got to eat on this trip?
I think I'm going to start with the classic, Magic Kingdom, little spring roll cart. Fantastic cheeseburger spring rolls. It's we go there every time since we found out about this little cart. It is delicious. If you like the pizza ones, they're all right too, but cheeseburger is where it's at. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite eats whenever we're going to Disney. I always look forward to grabbing one, so had to do it this time as well.
I think you nailed it there with the comparison. I think the pizza spring roll, you need the sauce. Mm-hmm. But the cheeseburger spring roll, you don't. Although the sauce is
makes
great.
It way better.
It makes it way better, but I think you can still enjoy it so much more without. And Kevin, we did an Eatcentric with you reviewing those, and I think it was one of your higher reviews.
5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Hands down. And I had them a couple more times while I was there. 5 out of 5.
So good.
I'd say it was a total of 15 out of 15. Those things slap. But a lot of the food that I might mention just because it's so good, I've had before, and that's why I had it again, because it's just so good. Something I've never had from an eatery I've never been in before at Magic Kingdom was the creme brulee croissant from Gaston. Yeah. That was a savory, tasty little dish, let me tell you.
Absolutely incredible. The cream is so sweet. The mix of textures for me. That's the big thing with these things. I love a good texture mixture and getting the croissant, the layers, the fluffiness, but then you get that crunch on the outside with the like the hard sort of candied enclosure, if you will, of the creme brulee. So tasty. That was one that we've got a video up for right now. You can check us out talking about that one. I want to shout out Tiana's famous beignets from Golden Oak Outpost. We talked about the bayou, and as we were getting off that ride, I was talking to the cast members, and I was like, you need to tell me where I can get a beignet, because there's no way that you don't have beignets after coming off that ride, like right here. And it's a bit of a walk. You got to walk a little bit further away from the ride to get to Golden Oak Outpost. But these were so tasty, fluffy pastries topped with powdered sugar, drizzle of honey.
400 pounds of powdered sugar.
To the point where we made a mess. Kevin and I...
Oh, yeah.
We made a mess.
It was all over the place.
We cleaned it up, Disney, in case you're listening. I
cleaned it up, yes.
Darcy cleaned it up for us in case you're listening. But I thought that honey added a perfect amount of sweetness. And it's funny, the following days I was walking around the Golden Oak Outpost, and I just saw so many white powder like on the ground, like little piles of white powder everywhere. Clearly, they need to maybe scale a little bit of that powder back.
It's not authentic if you don't have a crap load of icing sugar, though.
It's true.
Just don't breathe it in. Just don't try and smell it.
Don't make somebody laugh,
air. It smells,
Kevin.
Yes,
while you're trying to not do that. I've got another one here I want to shout out from Animal Kingdom, the Manquan Mousse from Satuli Canteen. I am a big fan of banana, and so you take cinnamon milk chocolate, caramelized banana cake, banana sesame caramel, and then chocolate sesame crumble. This was unreal. It looks gorgeous. It looks beautiful. We have a preview of it on our Instagram as well in our highlights, and we'll have a full review out soon. But dude, the Manquan Mousse celebrating Avatar, Fire and Ash, and the Manquan people, it did the job. It worked, and it was so incredibly tasty. Again, when we talk about the combination of mouthfeel, that smooth, beautiful mousse, but then you add that little crunch from the chocolate sesame crumble. Oh, and the banana flavor is so good. So good.
I mean, I'm going to go back over to Epcot because Festival of the Arts always has some of my favorite foods. I mean, it had a lot of staples when you're going around there. I mean, the Wagyu beef buns from Japan are phenomenal. You got to try it all the time. But the one I had for the first time this time was the carne asada beef taco.
Oh, that was like your first one, right?
It was the first one in Mexico. And I'm just like, let's just get into this. And I am so glad I started there. It's just like the juiciest piece of meat on like a delicious little corn flour tortilla. And again, the great thing about Festival of the Arts is it's small portions because they want you to eat around the world. So it's like the perfect place to start. Just a nice little meaty punch, then keep going through the rest of the plant area. It's incredible. Yeah.
And I have to shout out that little carne asada because, I think a lot of times when you get some of these, you expect them just to be sopping wet. And at least the one we had was not sopping wet. It wasn't dry by any means, but it wasn't like dripping to the point where you're it falls apart in your hand, like I think a lot of people experience with those smaller tacos. So that was really, really tasty. Kevin, did you have any more?
I think the toughest thing about eating around the world at the Festival of the Arts is that if you've been before, you've already established a few favorites or things that you really, really like the first time. And so it's almost hard not to get those and leave enough space for new ones. So as I've done almost every single time I've been to the Festival of the Arts, I got the General Tso's chicken shumai from the Painted Panda menu in China. They're so good. They're beautiful little almost soup dumpling style, just like little dumplings. They're amazing. I also love to go a little heavier going through Germany. You can't avoid a big heavy beer, and then the red wine braised beef short rib. It is always top notch, tender. Like you're shredding this thing with a plastic fork. It's so tender. Wow. So I always get that. And then I did try one new dish on that little journey that we had, which was a really, really nice polenta pasticciata from, oh man, I'm going to butcher all of this. It was from Italy, and it was this bolognese polenta. It was awesome. So it's added now to my list of like must-haves every time I do the festival. It was a wonderful new addition.
I'm glad to finally add something from Canada to my list when we return. They normally, when we go through the festival, it's always beet tartare and roasted bone marrow were the two options.
Which,
and those never really
how is
scream.
That Canadian?
It doesn't scream Canada to me at all. It's called Gourmet Landscapes, so maybe they're just trying to be classy Canada.
Right.
Who knows what that's like?
Sure.
But I'm not sure if it's new this year or new in previous years. But we finally tried the wild mushroom risotto.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Man. Oh man. So good.
The garlic flavor in there was unbelievable. I'm not even a big mushroom guy. And Darcy, I don't think you are the biggest mushroom guy.
I love
either.
mushrooms.
Oh, you are a mushroom guy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big
as a
mushroom
non-mushroom fan, I loved it, which is crazy. Yeah, no, that was excellent. We'll have to take Kevin next time. I thought you were going to bring up the maple popcorn, which I know that wasn't your first time. It was my first time. We have a video up on our Eatcentric page as well for the maple popcorn. Huge shout out to Canada for finally getting, obviously that great risotto, but then also just holding down the fort with, I'm going to just straight up say it. Sorry, Kat Saka and your kettle, but best popcorn on Disney World property. I can't say the same about all the Disney parks, but at least on Disney World property, the maple popcorn is wonderful. Really, really
even better than like from the traditional cart outside of the castle during a fireworks show.
Yes.
Because it's like a lighter caramel corn, so it's not as heavy or sticky, but it still has the sweetness.
Yeah, I'm like a salty, buttery movie style popcorn. So
it's the magic of maple man. It's so good.
The maple
I
is
bet
so
it's
good.
delish.
But the popcorn we got during the after hours in Magic Kingdom just was like, thank goodness they had water bottles, because that was crazy. That'll just suck all the liquid from the inside of your mouth.
Sucking it out of your eyeballs, man. That was crazy.
I will say, pro tip, if you do go to an after hours at EPCOT, which they do have, and you go to the Canada Pavilion, you can get free maple popcorn, whereas the rest of the park is just regular popcorn. So keep that in mind. And then the last one that I wanted to kind of shout out, or you know what, I'll give a quick shout out. The iced coconut coffee in Kusafiri Bakery. We had an Eatcentric plan for it. Unfortunately, the audio did not make it. So I want to quickly give it its flowers here. I enjoy the taste of coconut. I enjoy the taste of coffee more recently in my years. this was incredible. This was better than any coffee drink I've ever had at Starbucks. It is ice cold, refreshing, creamy, and it may very well give the Black Calf cold brew from Kat Saka's kettle in Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios a run for its money, which is crazy because that Cocoa Puff coffee is my favorite coffee in the world.
You just spoke ill of Galaxy's Edge twice in like 5 minutes.
I know. It's crazy. It's wild. I'm so sorry, Galaxy's Edge, but this iced coconut coffee was incredible. The best of the fest. People are wondering, Nate, what do you vote as your favorite from the festival? Everyone's asking. I have to say it is the orange chocolate eclair from l'Art de la Cuisine Française in the France Pavilion. I'm still thinking about this. I'm still, how many days later, thinking about this eclair, orange cream, chocolate ganache, crispy hazelnut, and candied oranges. Again, we talk about mouthfeel. We talk about the combination of flavors. If you are not an orange chocolate fan, then don't do this. But my goodness, this was phenomenal. I loved that eclair so much.
Kudos to France. That means they had the best food and the best drink on the eating and drinking around the world tours.
I think my best might be that fried cheese thing we did. That one was really good. That's one that I keep thinking about having left there. That
with all the dips.
Cheesy brick with all the dips. Oh, I wish I'd gone back for more after we did the Eatcentric. That was my biggest regret, was not going back for more.
For more of that cheese.
Yeah.
Kevin, did you have a favorite?
I mean, I got to taste a few of the dips on my pinky from that cheese thing. They were pretty good.
For sure.
There was none in the fritter left, but it's tough to say a favorite. I also have been thinking about that croissant from Magic Kingdom. Gaston.
Yeah.
That guy knows how to do it. They might have used 4 dozen eggs in a single one to get it that rich.
That's what their secret is. Listen, if that's what Gaston needs the eggs for, that's fine. He can drive the cost of eggs
right.
up.
You were actually giving him a hard time about all the eggs. You said he was putting the town into.
No, that was me, actually.
Yeah, town. I don't know. I'm okay. I'm Team Gaston if that's the case.
If it means we get that croissant, we'll see. Guys, this was a blast and so much fun to get to reminisce in what we experienced. Of course, before we get to our final thoughts, I wanted to just ask each of you, we got to experience so much from this trip. I wanted to sort of ask, were there any additional highlights or moments or just the way that we chose to sort of tackle this trip? We did things a little bit different this time around. And Kevin, we'll have you kick us off.
I would say as a tip, these are 2 tips actually. As a tip, if you're planning on doing like a full experience, eat as much as you can at EPCOT Day, have 2 EPCOT days. Even if it's a day and a half and you do a half day where you just do the rides and you get around and you do that, and then the other day you could go start to finish and just eat your face off. I think it would work better because I know there were a few that all of us had like spotted and we just ran out of time.
I was fainting by the end, Kevin. I was like keeling over. I was so full. I ate so much.
That's true. It's
you
tough.
also ate the most pastries I've ever seen. Like you focused on desserts only, it seemed.
Yeah. See, I'm give me a little tiny savory dish. You're eating full donuts.
Yeah, you were having sugar high crashes there, man. Like
it's like back to back to back.
It was crazy.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But in terms of a tip, something I learned because we've done after hours before, and I don't know if it was just because of the weather, but I have never had a better after hours experience than the one we did on our last night when we went to Hollywood Studios.
100%.
That was unbelievable. We walked on every single ride in the park, some of them twice, one of them 4 times, back to back to back to back. A ride that generally has an hour plus wait time, Slinky Dogs. We were literally going off the ride into the queue, like right into the next cart to go on Tower of Terror. I love the pre-show. It's one of my favorites. I love experiencing the basement and the leaky pipes and everything after the pre-show, but to just like zoom into your elevator, get off, go around and just zoom right back into another elevator in like 15 minutes. That's crazy. Doing Rock and Roller Coaster right up to the limo, like no pre-show, no lineup in the back parking lot area. Just it was awesome. Walking right into Ray's room on Rise of the
Resistance.
Rise of the Resistance, and like still getting to do the regular queue. That's one thing that you miss with the Lightning Lane sometimes is that you don't get that full queue experience. But here we got to go through the lockers of the Resistance and everything and see that for the first time in like 6 years. Like, oh man, Hollywood Studios in an early year, January, February, after hours is highly recommended. You could pound out that park, every single attraction. It was awesome. That was a highlight in terms of ride going and everything for me.
100%. Yeah, that was, I think that experience of Hollywood Studios after hours for me was even better than Magic Kingdom after hours. And I love Magic Kingdom after hours, but I think that Hollywood Studios and getting to just see how empty it was in Galaxy's Edge at certain points where it just felt like you were the only one there it was such a magical experience.
Yeah, no, I think the strongest thing that Hollywood Studios After Hours had going for it is, unlike Magic Kingdom has been doing it the longest, so people know what they're getting when they go there. All the rides are open basically, and most of the lands stay fully active for the most part, with the exception of these some of the restaurants closing down. In the other parks, it was like after hours you wouldn't be able to go into Galaxy's Edge for a certain amount of time, or they would shut down Rock and Roller Coaster and Slinky Dog for after hours, so you couldn't get those rides. So now they're starting to offer more rides at these other parks for the after hours to increase the incentive to go, and it's totally worth it now because you can get the rides, all the characters that are out and about. The fact that it's free refreshments when you're walking by any stand, you just grab a Coke or a bottle of water. It's incredible.
A Mickey ice cream bar or sandwich or both, which I did.
But Darcy, you just nailed that. Imagine for parents getting the Fab Five photos with each of the Fab Five in like 20 minutes. That is,
and then doing all the other rides you want to do. Like, it is so worth it.
Yeah. I think we can all agree. After hours, definitely do after hours. Definitely do Festival of the Arts. Go to EPCOT during a festival. Darcy, did you have anything else you wanted to shout out?
I just wanted to add on to the after hours thing. My mom just shattered my mind earlier. It's cheaper than a regular park ticket, and you can get all the rides without paying for Lightning Lane. It is so worth it.
That's great. It's just
cheaper. If you're a single day park ticket versus an after hours park ticket, the after hours is cheaper, and you'll get every ride. So
come on.
It seems like a no-brainer. I don't know why people aren't doing it. Like,
okay, no.
Don't
Actually,
listen to us.
I don't want too many people.
Nobody listens to us.
It
was awful.
Don't ever do an after hours. Anybody ever.
So good. I had such a good time talking about this with you two and getting to go on this trip. And again, huge thanks to Disney Parks for making our trip a little bit more magical as we, went on this adventure. I wanted to ask each of you as we wrap up really quickly, when we go back, because we're going back, and I can't wait to go back. For Disney World, what's one thing that you're most looking forward to experiencing the next time that we go back?
I mean, I'm a big park fan. I just like walking through the parks. So as soon as I set foot on one of those main streets, I'm in my happy place, and I'm not leaving until we have to come back to Canada. So, I mean, just being there is what I'm looking forward to. Nothing in particular, man.
I love it. Kevin?
I think for myself, selfishly, I think I'm very much excited to see Animal Kingdom with a new land. I can't remember, since since Batuu, what's a new land, fully realized land that we've gotten at Disney World. And for it to be one with, 3 new rides, I count carousels, some new shopping experiences, new dining experiences.
Oh yeah.
And to listen, I'm not going to shit on Dinosaur the Ride anymore, but Dinoland USA was not what a Disney park was meant to represent. Somehow they do it okay in California Adventure. They capture that the experience of like a pier and that sort of beachside community vibe, but like Dinoland USA never. And I guess me and my bros were all too old for it. It just seemed tacky right from the start. I never liked it. I think this is going to be a beautiful enhancement. So I'm very excited to see that next time we go. Hopefully it's open by then. But no, for me, it's my daughter will be over 40 inches. She was 38 and a half inches, and 40 inches unlocks 90% of the rides at Disney. So like the fact that we turned her into a little mini coaster junkie by the end of it, everyone taking their turns with her on Slinky I'm so stoked to like, oh, you think Slinky's fun? Let's go.
Let's get on Rock and Roller Coaster with the Electric Mayhem. Yeah, I am stoked. I think as a Star Wars fan, I am. We talked about Star Tours and getting to experience the new elements, and those actually on some of the moments that I went on Star Tours, there were definitely places that I hadn't been before. That I'm sure Darcy being on that ride 9 million times during some of his after hours.
I think
experiences.
I'm only missing like 2 or 3 scenes from the entire 141 options. I'm so close to completing my list, man.
But I'm really excited for the changes coming to Smuggler's Run. This is a ride that even my mom is like, it's one of her favorite rides is Smuggler's Run. And so getting to be on the Falcon and getting to interact with Grogu and sort of see what Mando's doing and go to different parts of Star Wars is so exciting. And just to see the way that they're going to change it and give even more value for riding that ride over and over and over again. I'm excited to see what they do with the gamifying aspect of it as well and how to get more points. So yeah, of course I'm excited for Villains Land and we talked about Rock and Roller Coaster, but I think the most immediate change, I believe, will be Smuggler's Run. So I'm hoping we get there.
I don't think there's any cosmetics happening. That is all just like software updates, just changing the videos that play while you're exploring essentially. So
cannot wait.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. Well, listen, that is it for our Disney World Trip 2026 recap. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to share your thoughts on our recent adventure or any of the movies or series we cover, well, let me just have Darcy provide a great 2-finger point to direct you to experience all the magical ways you can see us real soon.
I want to be the guys with the lightsabers after a parade or something. Those always look really fun.
Those are
the different colored ones. What do the colors mean? They all have different ones. Anyways, if you want to reach out, you can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Or if that's too old-fashioned, you want to take the exit route along the back, skip the stores, then you can reach us on Twitter at GeekcentricYT or over on Instagram at wearegeekcentric.
Absolutely. Keep in mind, we have a ton of other great episodes covering the latest in movies, TV shows, including our recent spoiler-free reviews for Shrinking Season 3. Oh, such a wonderful show. As well as our spoiler-free review for Marvel Television's Wonder Man and our spoiler-filled discussion for the final season of Stranger Things. We've got some great spoiler-free reviews from last year as well, like Avatar Fire and Ash, Percy Jackson and the Olympians Season 2, Zootopia 2, and of course, all of our wonderful TIFF reviews. Plus, we've got our annual Geek Back episode out now where we take a look back at our favorite movies, series, video games, and collectibles of 2025. And we also shout out our biggest disappointments of the year and what we're most looking forward to in 2026. And we've got some great interviews to check out right now, like our recent interview with Wonder Man showrunner Andrew Guest, as well as 2 of the leads of that show, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Wonder Man himself, and Sir Ben Kingsley, who plays Trevor Slattery in the show, where, they all discuss how incredibly different this series is and how it showcases the world of Hollywood within the MCU. We also have our interview out now with 2 of the cast members from Percy Jackson and the Olympians Season 2. We had the opportunity to sit down with Dior Goodjohn and Daniel Diemer, who play Clarice and Tyson in the series, and they talk about their characters in Season 2 and how they connected to them, what they will take away from them going forward. So check out all those interviews either here on your podcast service of choice or over on YouTube at youtube.com/Geekcentric. And of course, we mentioned it a bunch of times on this podcast, but if you want to see some deliciously magical treats that we got to enjoy on our Disney World trip, well, head on over to our other channel, Eatcentric, where you can catch us rating and reviewing and showcasing all the wonderful geeky bites that we encountered on our trip, as well as just on our adventures generally throughout the world of food. It's all so delicious, and we have a fantastic time. We'd love for you to join us so you can catch all that tasty goodness over on Instagram and TikTok at We Are Eatcentric. But that's it for now, friends. We're stoked for what's to come in 2026. It's going to be a massive year for geeks, and we're just getting started. Darcy, Kevin, thank you so much for joining me for this magical Disney World recap. And as we say, love ya.
Laters.
As Cusco says, no touchy. But as I say, get home safe.
There you go. Wrong lever!